On behalf of IYF, the IYF World Camp, Good News Medical Volunteers, and the Leadership Symposium, I welcome you all today to this press conference where we've dubbed it the Big Three. And there's a lot of Big Threes out there today, and we also have a Big Three that we want to present to you. We know that you're busy. We know that you guys came from a long ways out to be here, and we thank you for that. But we know that what we have to present to you today is not only noteworthy, but it could affect the lives of many, many young people, both in New York and beyond. So, International Youth Fellowship, I just wanted to present the mission statement of the IYF to begin. We're a Christian-based global youth initiative, and we are a nonprofit organization in New York. IYF is dedicated to the spiritual, intellectual, and emotional growth of young people all around the world. And we have proprietary programs, events, and practical opportunities that get young people to advance Christian mission work in developed and developing countries, administer alternative methods of education and post-secondary education. We create international awareness and cultural exchange. We promote the value of meaningful performing arts. We facilitate short-term and long-term volunteerism, both domestically and overseas. And we develop leadership skills that are applied on a global level. See, IYF began with the notion that there's so much bad news that goes around today. That's what sells. Who got shot, who got robbed, who's divorcing who. People are attached to the next big piece of bad news. But see, that's why we exist, because we're providing good news to not just young people, but to people that can support the IYF and people that can support us in the name of youth development. We're here to deliver programs that spread good news. So speaking of bad news, just to preface why IYF does what it does, if you think about it in the media today, what's the big story other than the Olympics? It's the shootings in Aurora, Colorado. Young people dead from a senseless act of violence, but could have been preventable. The man who made those shootings proclaimed himself as, quote unquote, the Joker. What would possess a young man to think like that and to do such things? It's one word: isolation. All he knew was his own world, and therefore followed what his thoughts told him, and thus became that senseless act. And it's not just him. Many different acts in the past 10 or 20 years that we've seen in that sense have come from the fact that young people have become isolated. It's ironic. Social media is bigger than ever before. There's so many ways to connect to people. But actually, it's made us more isolated. It's cut us off from talking to people. We'd rather text than call on the phone. We'd rather Skype than meet each other person to person and feel each other's warmth and feel each other's emotions and ideas. The way that the world is going today, there needs to be some sort of, dare I say it, revolution in how we deal with young people. IYF is exactly that. IYF has three main virtues, three core virtues: challenge, change, and cohesion. We challenge circumstances. We change environments and societies. We change the way we think and the heart. We change the world. And we provide cohesion with diverse cultures. We embrace differences. And we provide cohesion for heart-to-heart connections. We define leadership through these things. We're international. We have chapters in 80 countries across 6 continents. We're still figuring out Antarctica, but we'll probably get there one day. But for now, we're on other 6. We're international because we promote tolerance, multicultural exchange, and global collaboration. We're international because we engage everyone, regardless of race, ethnicity, culture, class, or background. We are youth because our programs are designed with young people in mind. Our founder, Pastor Oksu Park, in 1995, identified one young man from Colorado who visited him for 1 month in Korea. He had rainbow-colored hair. He was a drug addict. He was an alcoholic. I think he was only 16 years old. And Pastor Park was concerned about him, not because of the things that he was doing, but because of the heart that he had, that the way that he was living, he thought that was the best way to live. Pastor Park wanted to open him up to a bigger world. And after 1 month of training in Korea, this man, his name is Andy, changed for good. And he now lives in Colorado with his family. He's a dental practitioner, and Pastor Park recently met with him, and he's doing very well. But that's what the IYF does, and Pastor gained this passion to want to help young people like Andy, and that's how IYF was born. Now, as you'll hear later, we have such global events as the IYF World Camp. Almost 100,000 young people attend this every year. 42 camps, 36 countries. Celebrities, professional athletes, educators, national congressmen, presidents of countries. They all support the mission of IYF World Camp. And you'll hear more about that later as we delve into the 2012 IYF World Camp New York. We're youth because we bring youth issues to the global forefront. Recently, we had our IYF Ministers of Youth Forum, where world leaders from 26 countries assembled in the name of IYF and youth development to collaborate, present, exchange, and design both implementable, scalable, and sustainable global youth initiatives. They've since gone back to their countries and have begun implementing these programs with IYF's help and support. And we're very excited about next year's IYF World Leaders Forum. We also have Good News Corps overseas volunteering. We're not going to talk about that today, but it's a major volunteering initiative from IYF. Since 2002, over 5,000 young people have devoted 1 year of their lives to travel overseas, sometimes in harrowing conditions, to serve the people of that country. They don't know where the next challenge is coming from. They want to exchange their youth. They're scared to speak to people because of the language barrier, but they challenge themselves to overcome. And it may seem crazy to some people, but to people who came back from Good News Corps, that experience has defined their lives. And it continues to grow, and we have record participation projected for 2013. And also, you'll hear a little bit more about the Good News Medical Volunteers today, our global medical relief organization that's meant to provide medical relief and health education to developing countries. And we recently came back from Haiti, where we held the English camp mission through IYF. 1,000 volunteers have joined the English camp since 2005. They've devoted their time, energy, and money to join IYF and teach English. And we've reached 30,000 young students who not only want to teach English. You can't teach English in 2 weeks, but you can ignite hope for them to want to learn and change themselves, their communities, and their countries. So we've concentrated our efforts in Mexico and Haiti, and we'll continue to go to developing countries and hold English camps to spark hope. We have all these great programs, and we have all of these statistics and great information, but the last thing that I want to tell you before I turn it over to our World Camp representative here to explain today is what powers IYF to reach every corner of the world? How do we continually garner the support of powerful people? And how do we continually fight for change in our youth? I want to tell you exactly what makes IYF tick. It's the world of the heart. Now, I know what you're thinking. What does that mean, world of the heart? I've never heard that before. Well, the world of the heart is an unseen place in our souls, our spirits, where circumstances, hardships, even pleasures have no influence over us. Think about it. How does a person run a 26-mile marathon? How does a person climb Mount Everest knowing that they're going to feel pain and they might even put their lives in danger? Why do they do that? Because they know that happiness doesn't come from being comfortable. It doesn't come from feeling good, but it comes from a deeper place, and they've discovered that. We tap into the world of the heart with our programs, and we're excited to share 3 of them with you today, many of which will have really big events going on in next month. So I'm going to stop talking here, and I'm going to turn it over to Richard Huang, who will introduce us to the 2012 IYF World Camp that's happening here in New York starting August 26th. Thank you.